around the region. And then our two deep dive topics for today are really hospitality and tourism, and we're going to be joined by the CEO of Visit ABQ, Tanya Armenta. And then we're also going to talk about elections, and so we're lucky to have our county clerk here with us today as well. Of course, we all work like one building from each other anyway, so but we haven't seen each other like everyone else in a long time, so it's good to see them. I'm glad they were able to make it here today. Now, to begin with, Loveless wants to remind people that they're not going to have a testing site this weekend. So that one that kind of pops up and then sometimes doesn't, et cetera, on MLK won't be running this weekend. Optum clinic locations dedicated to caring for folks with COVID-19 symptoms, they're going to switch from 2 locations down to 1 location. Their Rio Rancho clinic is now their only dedicated site. And so just as a heads up for Optum folks, that's where to go. And another update from one of our laboratory, Tricor Laboratories, they have increased their testing capacity a lot. And of course, Tricor works for pretty much everyone in New Mexico. So we're very excited and grateful that they can now process an additional 1,000 samples each day, representing a 50% increase. So great job, Tricor. In terms of city items, I think we touched on a lot yesterday. The one that we did get questions on that I just want to reiterate is that our city is preparing for the summer program offerings. Most of those start at the end of May or at the beginning of June. Again, we'll see what the world looks like, but right now we are planning to do those. They might occur in a different way. So they might be, again, more socially distanced. They might be smaller groups. But as of right now, we are planning to launch those in the same rough time frame as we would normally near the end of May and beginning of June. And that's also the same for our early childhood development operations. So again, it could all change, but tentatively that time frame is when we're planning on opening up those programs, which actually is the regular time when they would have been opened up anyway. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about our first deep dive topic, hospitality and tourism. And I think one thing I want to mention is that over the past few years, Albuquerque has really been building a top tourism and film destination program. And it's something that, as our economy continued to steadily increase over the last 2 years, part of that has been tourism. And we've seen some real legitimate increases that, of course, help us with lodgers tax, but also help all the businesses that help support this industry. And, as a reminder, this is a core top industry in our city, and it always has been, and it's been wonderful that actually this industry has been doing quite well over the last few years. Now, typically, we see about 5.5 million folks in terms of key partners, and that's the amount of support for tourism to Albuquerque. So that we work with budgetarily with Visit ABQ. And Visit ABQ has their own program as well, but we invest in tourism and then we get a return. And that return has been very good. So I wasn't really clear on that math, but the point is they have lots of return on investment calculations, and we get a very good return on that 5.5 million. And now, of course, very, very challenging times. And it's obvious why, but I want to give you one fact point. Just our Sunport traffic is down, no surprise, 97%. So depending on the day, we get about 500 travelers. We normally would have over 15,000. So that is just one snapshot of how this is affecting everything that we're doing with respect to tourism. So we want everyone to know that public health is number one, and so it's important that we are doing what we're doing. But as we think about and plan for reopening, we also want to really focus on tourism and hospitality. We do know that this could be one of the most difficult sectors to deal with, because the reality is, by definition, you're bringing in folks from other areas. So we're working together with Visit ABQ, and this one is going to be a different kind of summer for tourism as well. But we're going to try and do all that we can. So I think with that, actually, where there's a few things that Visit ABQ is mentioning, and I'm going to invite Tanya Armenta up here to kind of walk through those. So Tanya, come on up.
Good morning, and I want to thank the mayor for the partnership. It's a really important partnership that exists, and for the comments that he just made. in regards to how critical and vital the tourism industry is. So appreciate the mayor's invitation to be here this morning to talk more about tourism and hospitality. Mayor did a really great job of outlining how important it is to the city. It's historically been a $2 billion industry for the city of Albuquerque, bringing in over 6 million visitors. So you think about, as the world has changed, you think about that dramatic alteration of our world and what that means economically. So the industry has been disproportionately impacted economically. We are seeing that in regards to the business closures, the job losses, very significant for the hospitality and tourism industry. Just to give you a couple of data points that will help to identify the impacts thus far, our office has had 38 meetings and conventions, conventions, sports events that were scheduled for Albuquerque that have been canceled for the city. And I want to underline, those are just the bookings that our office was involved in. Those typically tend to be the citywide events, the larger bookings. Those don't include independent hotel bookings or other venue bookings. And just to give a dollar figure to those 38 meetings, events, and conventions, sports events, over $30 million in regards to the direct visitor spending impact. On a brighter note, we are currently working with 19 meetings, conventions, and events that are looking to postpone their event for Albuquerque. So that equates to about $3.4 million in direct visitor spending. Again, that's a bright spot that they are looking at a later date when the timing is right for those events to take place. During this time, we have been really pivoting to provide as many resources to the business community, to the local business community, and that has happened. We're tracking information, of course, on business closures, on event, as I mentioned, event cancellations, but also on restaurant, on a brighter note in terms of restaurant and e-commerce opportunities. And so we're sharing that information through a variety of marketing channels, through social, through our website, through public relations. I am really pleased to say we have 250 restaurant listings on our website where you can go curbside, takeout, delivery options, as well as other e-commerce opportunities to support local business. And the city of Albuquerque actually just recently posted those same listings on their site. So good news is you can get that information on cabq.gov. You can also get that information on Visit ABQ, visitabq.org. We just launched a new hospitality training program through, this is a online hospitality training program. It's in partnership with an international leader in the online training world. That's a business called Tipsy. Here on this online training program, it's over 700 Netflix-style online training courses. It's expertly led. And again, a beautiful thing about this is it's free to all local businesses that will benefit from this. So it's free for the next 6 months through September for anyone to utilize that sees that of value. I really see that as work that we can be doing right now to prepare for the future to come out of this in the strongest fashion. So hotel operations, food and beverage, compliance, which is going to be really an important and critical component of our new environment. There's also customer service and much more, and also translated into a variety of languages. So that's through Tipsy. We also just released a new digital marketing series with one video that's been released, an online video. These are tips for local businesses, the importance of why they should maintain their digital presence, alterations they should make in terms of messaging, things they should be doing in this current environment that are options for them, but also preparing, again, for the future. So a new digital marketing video, and that is the first of many, many to come. We have, in terms of other activity, we've been looking at ways that we can help uplift the community, and we have repurposed, typically our tourism hashtag has been #TrueABQ. We've repurposed that hashtag, and we're sharing acts of kindness and creativity throughout the community. We have shared over 50 of those thus far, and that's everything from food donations to other work that's being done to support and recognize our first responders, those that are on the front lines really responding to the virus. We, as we also adapt to the new environment, we have been sharing and adding to the catalog of ways that you can experience Albuquerque virtually. So from the comfort of your home, we have on our website things that the local community, our residents, in terms of entertainment and knowledge building about our own community, but also for visitors, potential visitors in the future, to take a look at Albuquerque through a virtual vacation. And that work has been recognized nationally. Albuquerque's work in the virtual vacation world has been identified nationally. We've had several articles in Forbes, other national publications about the work that Albuquerque is doing. Just continue to stay updated with all of the industry sources, working with our partners here at the city, at the state, and at a national level as well. And we are working collaboratively as we look to the future, looking to work collaboratively with our partners, the local businesses, because there is going to be a new environment. So as they plan for reopening, the different restrictions, considerations, business environment that's going to need to be factored in and followed. So working with them collaboratively. We are also simultaneously working on a variety of recovery plans with a key focus on the proper timing coming from health officials and our partners here at the city and state. Bottom line is, we know that when the time is right, hospitality and tourism will play a catalytic role in the recovery for the community, and so we look forward to ongoing conversations about when that timing is right and what the right approach will be. So I want to thank the mayor again for the opportunity to speak to you. And,
Thank you. Thanks so much, Tanya. Well, we really appreciate the good work of everyone at Visit ABQ, and this industry. In a former life, back when I used to kind of do business economics, tourism literally imports money from out of state, like into our state. So by definition, it's almost always the highest return on investment. It's always manufacturing and tourism. Manufacturing, of course, the reverse. We're exporting stuff, so the money comes in from out of state. So this is a really, really key industry, and we know, of course, it affects all of New Mexico. But as a reminder, people often forget Albuquerque because of our convention center. Also because of, things, basics like the tram and Old Town and our airport. We get a ton of tourism, even though we don't have sort of that seminal tourist reputation like, say, Santa Fe or something like that. Pretty much everyone still goes through here anyway, and that's a really good thing for our city. But again, that's what we're concerned about. And so we'll continue to keep working in the virtual fashion for now and then see what we can do. So next I want to chat a little bit about elections. I know folks, if they've been watching the news and so forth, it's hard to remember actually that we have a local election coming because of all the other stuff that's going on. And because, of course, the presidential primary is like a whole different thing. So just one is a reminder to all Burqueños, like we have a primary in June, and there is every state Senate seat and every House seat on that ballot, along with some judges and some other things. So there's a lot on that ballot. And again, depending on the race, these are very important races. I think county commission as well is on there. So it's very important that, of course, like always, we go and express our democratic privileges and vote and make sure that we have a say. And we want to really encourage folks in times of like this, in terms of Corona, the best way to do it is absentee ballot and mail-in absentee ballot. So our county clerk is going to walk through this process. And I'm going to I prefer to vote in person, I will tell you. But this year I'm not going to. I am going to lead by example and do a mail-in ballot, I think for only the second time in my life. So I want to mention that there's some myths around this we'll talk about, but mail-in ballot is very secure, it's very safe, it's used all the time. And our county and our state have been doing mail-in ballot for a long time. Now, as the Supreme Court ruled, you will still have a limited in-person option, and so that's good for folks who have it. It is what it is, but we're all going to be better off, especially those workers, especially the public, if we do a mail-in ballot this time around. So to tell us more about that, our county clerk, Linda Stover. So I'm going to fill this out. This is my mail-in ballot form. I'll work on this while she's talking.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mayor. I am so pleased that the city has taken a lead on these absentee ballots. On behalf of all 33 clerks in the state of New Mexico, we are pleading with our voting public to please ask for an absentee ballot. It's so simple to do. It's very, very easy. You can go to burncovote.org and request an absentee ballot. You can go to 243-VOTE, which I believe is 8363, and ask for an absentee ballot. That telephone number in Bernalillo County, if you have a parent or you can't or somebody can't work on a computer or understand the computer, there will be people that answer the phone that will help you fill out your absentee ballot and submit it for you. So there's really no reason on this. In the days that we're going through right now with COVID-19, we are pleading that you do an absentee ballot. We will have a regular election. The Supreme Court said we will. So we will have early voting sites. We will have election day sites. But it's so much easier. There's no reason for you to take the risk of standing in line and voting in person unless you just have to. Absolutely have to. You can call our office. We will help you get an absentee ballot. It's you'll see in just a moment. It doesn't take very long to fill it out. It's processed. All these absentee ballot requests will go out on the 5th of May. So that's when your ballots will be doing. If you do it now, you're getting in a group of people. As of last night, we've processed 20,000 requests for absentee ballots in Bernalillo County. And when you look at our voter turnout, that's about a 6% voter turnout right now in Bernalillo County just through absentee ballots. And as the mayor mentioned, this is a large ballot. You've got a president, you've got congressional people, our Senate and our representatives are up. You've got a bunch of judges. You've got the PRC. You've got the Public Education Commission. And you have the county people that you need to fill slots for. So if you get it at home, you can sit down on the table, look at it, figure out who you like, who you don't like, send it back. It's a much simpler way. We really don't want anybody to take the risk of getting ill when there's such an easy way to do it, and that's to an absentee ballot. So thank you very much. Thanks, Mayor. See, he's already done.
So look how fast that was. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much. And I'm going to take some for my wife, actually, and some family members. So really appreciate that message. And I'm glad I'm not on the ballot this year. So, so happy to mail one in. All right, I think with that, let me mention just a myth. We always like to touch on a myth, and I think with elections coming and so forth, just want to remind folks again that there's a myth that somehow there's a higher likelihood of election fraud with mail-in ballots. That's a myth. That's just not true. There's no data behind that at all. And again, mail-in ballots have been used for secure, essential, and safe elections for decades. And so we're glad we have that option, and we're glad that our clerk and our Secretary of State are able to provide this in a way that works during these times of social distancing. So I think with that, takeout today looks like it's going to be bocadillos. So glad they're back open. And questions from folks, and also for our guests. We'll bring them up if needed. Nothing coming in so far in the room. All right. Okay, well, we'll just sit tight just for 1 second, and I'll let folks know this weekend. I want to wish everyone a healthy weekend, and again, to continue that good social distancing we've been demonstrating in our open space and parks, and we will be getting back together for our 11:30 briefing on Monday.
Okay, we do have a few questions.
All right, I thought some would come through. We do have a few questions.
One from Chris McKee at KRQE. Is there a deadline to fill out an absentee ballot application?
Question is there a deadline to fill out an absentee ballot? And we're going to let our county clerk field that one.
Hi, Chris, and thanks for the question. You can actually request an absentee ballot clear up through May 28th. We're trying to do the big push now to get them done prior to that. But that's the real deadline for requesting an absentee ballot is May 28th, right before the election.
Okay, and then we have one from Jessica Dyer at the Albuquerque Journal. Have you reduced in-person voting sites for the primary?
Question is, have we reduced in-person voting sites for the primary? We'll bring our clerk back up.
Another good question. We are asking to reduce the number. On a normal election, we would have 71 polling locations on election day and about 20 early voting sites. What we're going to petition the court tomorrow for is to lower that amount to 61 election day sites on election day and about 16 early voting sites. That just makes it a little bit easier to handle. We're concerned about having people work in the polls. We're going to make sure they're safe and good for everybody. But hopefully nobody comes. You all ask for absentee ballots.
Okay, and then we have one unrelated question from the Journal. This weekend marks the month since we've suspended the single-use plastic bag ban for 30 days. What happens now?
Question is about the ban on plastic bags and the suspension that we did. We actually we forwarded that another 2 weeks based on the emergency order that we signed a week ago today. So last Friday, that emergency order moves that till mid-May, and we'll see where we're at then. But again, our plan is, as long as we're in these times of concerns around Corona, we're probably going to continue that suspension. But we also reminded folks that as soon as that's done, we're actually going to clamp down on people who are trying to do an end around on the plastic bag ban by just having a different type of plastic bag. So we're actually going to be getting a little bit more stronger regulations. But in the meantime, as long as there's public concern and ease with respect to the different types of bags, we'll continue suspending that rule.
Okay, and then one more from KRQB. This is on the elections. Are you confident that you'll have enough volunteers for the for all of the polling sites the county needs for the primary election?
The question is, are we confident about the number of volunteers we'll have and so forth for polling locations? We'll bring back up Clerk Stover.
Well, you can't be confident because these are unusual times, but I feel pretty sure that we will. We've got a lot of people that have called and even volunteered to work. So I feel that that's going to be handled. I think we'll be okay. I don't know what else to say about that. We just kind of have to wait and see how many people come and go. It's an unusual time. Something I forgot to mention, and I should, is May 5th is a big day. This is a closed primary. So the only people that can vote in this primary are either Democrats, Libertarians, or Republicans. So if you're not a member of that party, one of those three parties, you will not be getting a ballot, or you can't request an absentee ballot. Now, if you are wanting to vote in this election, you need to update your voter registration, and you need to do that before May 5th in order to do that. So May 5th is a big day. May 5th is when early voting and absentee starts at the clerk's annex. May 5th is when the ballots will start going out and absentee things. So remember May 5th, that's a big date.
Okay, well, want to wrap up on actually a religious note, just because we've all been through, whether it was Easter or Passover. I think today is around the beginning of Ramadan, so I want to wish everyone the best during Ramadan. And like a lot of these other different gatherings, right? Normally you would have prayers in mosques, and then you would celebrate with family when the sun goes down. Obviously, that's all very different now. So we wish everyone the best, and also to stay healthy and maintain social distancing during Ramadan. All right, thank you so much.
No, we haven't.
It's so funny. We've been in the same
Same area.
room, like 100 times.
Yeah.